Hi, I've been a console couch gamer all my life and I just bought my first ever gaming PC. A laptop actually, a Lenovo Legion Pro 5. I've had it for a couple of weeks now, so I'm going to share with you my experience with it so far. So if you're thinking of diving into gaming PC as well, and maybe you are a console player like me, this video might give you some insights on things to consider before you jump into gaming PC for the first time ever. I am an overthinker, so I probably went through way too many scenarios, pros and cons based on my circumstances. Other things that you might have to consider, but it might give you some idea on what you should think of before diving into gaming PC as well. Or maybe you are already a long time PC gamer and are just generally curious about my thoughts on this so far. This wasn't an impulsive last minute buy. I've been thinking about this for a very long time. I keep hearing friends saying, oh, PC gaming is so much better than consoles. The graphics, the performance, FPS, the personalization, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. You have so much more choice in games, even free ones on PC. You can personalize it, especially if you get a desktop, and you can personalize your own rig. You don't really have many options with consoles. You usually get black version and white version, some special editions with some games. But on top of all of that, it is still a PC, so you can do so much more with it. Of course, the cost, it's nothing compared with consoles, and that is especially true if you want to play the most recent and more demanding games. And if you are going for a laptop instead of a desktop, you are going to have to spend a lot more for a similar performance than you'd have on a desktop. And yes, I did go for a laptop. I did my research and I understand the pros and cons of having a desktop compared with a laptop, but based on my circumstances, I did still go with the laptop instead of the desktop, even knowing the disadvantages and usual complaints with laptops. But yes, I went with a laptop. I did want to get into PC gaming and I've been thinking about it for a while. I wanted to expand my game library, even though I probably could have just played the hundreds of games that I already had on my PlayStation library that I've been getting for free for PS Plus. However, I wanted to experience PC gaming for the very first time because I've kept hearing about it and I wanted to dive into it finally. Gaming is a considerable part of my life. It is my hobby. I spend most of my evenings playing either on my PlayStation 5 or my Switch. I've been gaming since I was a kid. I've had a Game Boy. I remember going to my cousin's house to play on his Sega. I've had a Nintendo DS. I've had a PlayStation 2. And I finally bought a console with my own money for the first time when I got my first job. And it was a PlayStation 4 a few years ago. That was when I discovered a game called Destiny. I don't know if you heard of it. Since then, it's been pretty much a daily part of my life. Not just that game specifically, but gaming in general. It is a hobby and in a way something to help you or me escape reality. You can immerse yourself in this massive, beautiful, and realistic world. You can be a little kid traveling to worlds with powerful and cute creatures trying to be the very best, or it can be a magical space cowboy killing gods and turning them into weapons. I mean, it can be whatever and whoever you want. So PC gaming felt like the next logical step. More games, more new worlds to dive into and lose yourself in. And I read the reviews, I heard the warnings, I balanced the pros and cons, and I decided to still go with the laptop. I do not have a big house, so space was a factor to consider. I work from home, so while I could have set up the desktop on my office desk, I really didn't want to stay in the same space for 8 to 9 hours during the day and then spend most of my evenings in the same space when that's exactly what the hobby is for me. It's to escape that part of my day, to immerse myself in a different world. So that was one of the reasons I did not go for the desktop, because I didn't want to be stuck in the same space for more than 9 hours every day or almost every day. So yes, I could have turned my office into more of a gaming room, but it is an office guest room, so space is limited. Even if I had set it up with space to have my desktop and be more of a gaming room, while my partner is a gamer as well. He also plays games sometimes, but he's not into it as me. So if I had set up the office with the desktop, I would be spending most of my nights there in that same space, but alone as well. So that was a no for me. Yes, I did spend probably quite a lot more money than I should have. I am probably going to get less performance than I would have with the desktop for less money, and I could have saved a bit getting a desktop instead. But other things to consider is also you get a laptop, and with the laptop you get a screen, you get the keyboard, mouse pads, comes with the camera, which it's all things that you have to consider. You have to buy separately for a desktop most of the time, unless there's a promotion. I might be getting less performance and maybe less years out of the laptop. Fingers crossed I don't, but while I still can bring it up and be in my office, and I at least won't be stuck there. And with the laptop I have the option to go sit by my partner's side, by my dog's side as well. Yes, I might still be doing my own thing on my laptop, and my partner might be doing his own thing, watching his shows or whatever else, but at least we'll still be in the same room, and I do have the option to choose where I want to be. Don't worry, I am not bringing a laptop and sitting it on my lap or on a blanket. I did buy a quite big tray so I can sit the laptop safely on top of that tray, and it also has space for my mouse, so that helps the ventilation and helps it not overheat, which obviously could and would probably happen if I had it on top of my legs or on top of a blanket. I also sometimes sit in the dining room, which is not the most comfortable because those IKEA chairs are definitely not made for it to sit much longer than for a meal. So with that in mind, I did end up upgrading my office a bit with a bigger desk, so I have more space for when I want to be sitting here instead of laying on the sofa in the living room. Yes, I do spend some time here, but I try not to be stuck here for too long. I bought the laptop so I could have the option and have the mobility to be where I want to be. Is the sofa setup the most comfortable? I mean, it could be worse. If I'm doing something or playing something where I want to be more concentrated, have proper space, I would just be sitting in my office. But if I'm playing something more relaxed or just working on something that doesn't require me to be 100% focused, I can just take the laptop and put it on the tray and sit on the sofa with it. There's not much space for the mouse on the tray, so if I want to play like first-person shooter games, it would be a bit awkward sometimes. But again, I can just use the laptop in my desk instead for those occasions. In terms of performance, quality, and graphics, in my opinion, the laptop has been performing really well. I haven't really tried a very demanding game yet, because since I bought the laptop, I spent a lot of money. So I've only been trying and playing free games, not buying any games so far. So nothing too crazy or demanding. So far I've played Destiny 2, Destiny Rising, Blue Protocol, Star Resonance, Human. So again, I don't think the most demanding games. I've had my settings pushed to the max. I've not had any issues at all with performance or any stuttering or drops in frame rates or anything like that so far. The laptop does get very warm, and very loud, but not that warm that I notice when I'm playing or using the keyboard. And for when it gets very loud, I just pop in my earphones and I can't even tell the difference, so it's really not a problem. My laptop comes with the NVIDIA GPU RTX 5070 8 GB, so I usually do have the NVIDIA overlay, especially at the start, because I wanted to keep an eye on the performance to make sure that the laptop was performing well and I wasn't finding any issues. And while I'm not an expert at all on this, I think I might be pushing the GPU to its limits already, even with just these games. Although I do have the settings on graphics and all pushed to the max, but I already have my expectations set for future and more demanding games, and I kind of knew what I was getting into with the laptop anyway, so that's completely okay for me. Or I just need to watch more how to YouTube guides to see if there's settings that I can mess around with and help the laptop perform better. But again, I knew what I was getting into. I knew pros and cons. I did not get a high range laptop either, so I had my expectations set from the very start. And I can be here on in my office. I can bring it down to the living room and relax with my partner and my dog at the same time while I play my games or do my own stuff. And so far, I have had no issues at all with the laptop. Fingers crossed it continues like that. The games look great on that 16-inch OLED. They really do look fantastic so far. I've been having a good time with it. I had little time with the laptop, of course, but I'm not concerned, and I am happy with the decision. Now, important question you might be asking: mouse and keyboard or controller? I've had so little time. I am still not used to mouse and keyboard at all. I am still looking all the time to the keyboard, especially because I have the work laptop and it's a different size, so I kept misclicking the keys all the time on my gaming laptop. Definitely not used to it. I need to build a bit more of muscle memory first, and then I might be able to give some feedback on what actually feels better. Obviously, I'm comfortable with controllers. I've been playing with controllers all my life. So yeah, I need more time to have the answer to that question. When it comes to that difference coming from console, where it's basically just plug and play, you don't really have to worry much about the settings. You just turn on your console, you install the game, and you play the game. You do have settings you can play with, but not really many options. I was a bit concerned that I was going to be overwhelmed with PC, but it's been pretty smooth so far. Obviously, the initial setup took a while, making sure everything was installed, all the updates were done, all the drivers were installed. But apart from that, I installed Steam once everything was set up, everything was updated. You pretty much just download the game, and sure, when you first open a game for the first time, you can go through the settings and make sure that everything is set to how you want or how your laptop or desktop could better perform with it. If you have an NVIDIA GPU, I'm not sure if there's something similar for the AMD ones. You have the NVIDIA app, which once you install a game and open it for the first time, you can go in the NVIDIA app and you can check there what's the recommended settings for the game. While my games have been set up pretty much for high, very high settings on pretty much everything, and they've been performing well. That's what the NVIDIA app has been recommending too. You can also just follow those recommendations. Obviously, with a PC, there's a lot more to be aware of. You have to make sure you're checking for updates regularly, especially for drivers. You have to do all these little tweaks in settings yourself. If something goes wrong, it might not be as straightforward to fix it as a console, but thankfully so far I've had no issues. Overall, if you are a long-time console player like me, should you get into PC gaming? It's really gonna depend on your circumstances. I've been thinking about this for a very long time, and it really just felt like the next logical step for me. You have to think about your budget, what your circumstances are. Maybe a desktop would be best for you instead of a laptop because you'd be saving a bit more money and you do have the space and the setup for it. Or maybe a laptop would be best because you need the portability and you understand the limitations of the laptop compared with the desktop. My advice is just do your research, think about it, sleep on it, do more research, and just make sure that you are 100% sure because if you are tight on a budget, it is not cheap at all. If you have done your research, you have thought about it, and you've been considering it for a long time as well, gaming is also a big part of your life, then I don't think you would regret the decision. And unless my laptop goes up in flames and dies within the next few weeks or months, I don't think I'll regret it either. If you've watched this far, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to keep track of my new gaming journey, feel free to follow me. And also let me know in the comments, are you a PC gamer already? Do you have any tips for us newcomers? Or are you like me? You are a long-time console player and are thinking about diving into PC gaming as well? If yes, what would your setup be? Let me know. And I'll see you on the next one.